She was 8 of 2 cats sewing while sitting on a chair. "Good day, madam," her maid said, drawing Hazel back to the present. Maggie stood just inside the doorway to the small room, wringing her hands. Her brown hair was covered by a white cap to match her apron, and she wore a blue serge dress beneath. Her expression hovered between nervous and fearful, and her brown eyes were troubled. Behind her stood Alice, ruddy-faced from the heat of the ovens. She was several inches taller than Maggie, and a good deal wider, too. Her deepening frown spoke volumes. Something was definitely wrong this fine day. Hazel glanced at Dickens again, and then, with a sigh, bid adieu to her peaceful morning and welcomed the 2 women inside. "Please, ladies, come and sit." Hazel set her tea and the final edits on her latest mystery novel aside, gesturing toward the settee across from her. After she'd lost her dear husband, the long-standing servants had almost become Hazel's family now, and if something was bothering them, then it bothered her too. "You both look horribly upset. Tell me what's wrong." Maggie and Alice took a seat on a lovely Victorian settee, embroidered with red and pink roses, and Dickens, being Dickens, immediately ran over to flit about in Alice's skirts. The cook tried to shoo him away, but he persisted, as if he took the battle of wills between them as a personal affront. The 2 had acted that way toward each other, Alice keeping her distance from the feline, Dickens having none of it, since the day Hazel had adopted the cat, although she suspected Alice was fonder of Dickens than she let on. The cook would never admit that, of course. Alice was stubborn through and through, most likely from her German heritage. She was also quite stocky and had no problem lifting and carrying the heavier pots and pans around the kitchen either, most likely also due to her stout German ancestors. "Well, madam, you see there's a bit of a problem, I'm afraid," Maggie said, stumbling over her words as her hand-wringing continued. The girl seemed so innocent at times that Hazel was glad she was employed here at Hastings Manor, where scandalous, shocking things hardly ever happened. "I'm not sure how to say this." "Just tell the truth, Maggie dear." Hazel gave her a sympathetic smile. The girl was young and always eager to help her with her investigations. The least Hazel could do was return the favour now. That always works best. Alice nudged Maggie in the side and gave her an urging look, cocking her head toward Hazel. "Tell her, Mags." The maid nodded, then frowned down at her hands, now clasped so tight in her lap that her knuckles were white. "It's my godmother's sister's daughter, madam." Maggie sniffled, and soon her thin shoulders shook with sobs. "You see, she died last night." "Oh, no." Hazel reached over and covered her maid's hands with hers. Alice put an arm around the girl and tucked Maggie into her side as well. "I'm so very sorry. What happened?" "She fell," Maggie said, her voice hiccuping on a sob, "from a 3rd-story window in the turret room at Farnsworth Abbey." Stunned, Hazel blinked and sat back slightly. Farnsworth Abbey was a Jacobean country house much grander than Hastings Manor. It sat on several acres to the south of Oxfordshire, land that had been in the Wakefield family's name for centuries. To have a death like that at such a fine property was sure to draw all the wrong sorts of attention. "They're saying it's suicide, madam." Maggie bit back another sob, her face scrunched with grief and tears. "But I know Doris would never kill herself. I know that, because that's what happened to her mother. And she swore to me she'd never do that to herself. She's a good girl, Doris is." Hazel exchanged a glance with Alice before continuing. "Did you know her well, then?" "We grew up together, were best friends when we were young, and I was there at her mother's funeral too. Saw how deeply the death affected Doris. That's why I'm so adamant that she'd never ever kill herself. It went against everything she believed."